Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Good day to you. Of course, over in Britain, the motherland, it's what, 9 o'clock. Well, there's still time to catch the big dinosaur news brought to you by the British People's League today, April 28th, Monday, April 28th. A couple more buttons here. We're all set to go, which is good news. I'm somewhat hysterical inside. I don't know where to begin. Dinosaur News brought to you by the British People's League. Our raison d'etre, our reason for being, of course, is to keep British Canadians firmly in their soil here in the Dominion of Canada before we're completely outbred and outswamped. And in that regard, check out the Sikhs having their big celebration, whatever. 100,000 Sikhs taking over downtown Toronto. I bring this up. Google Sikh Festival Toronto. 100,000 Sikhs celebrating their festivals with their culture in Toronto, Canada. Toronto used to be called Toronto the Good. I don't care how wonderful these people are. They're not our culture. They're not our kind. They're not our people. A small sample of what our great-grandchildren are going to face. And of course, all the politicians groveling. The Mayor of Toronto, the Premier of Ontario, the Federal Minister of Immigration, all groveling for the multicultural vote. Look, folks, I want you to check that out and have a look at that mob. British People's League does not exaggerate. It's the responsibility of you few out there and myself. We've got to put a stop to it. A stop to the multicultural invasion. Why we? Because no one else is. So do what you can to assist us. There's a few on the blind list do all they can, and there's a few that don't. So those that don't, please do. And those that do, don't worry about my little sermon. Now, I talked by Skype today with two exciting patriots in the motherland, in Britain. One discussion call with a fellow based in Birmingham, England, named Paul Hickman. He does a weekly show on Blog Talk Radio. Those who are familiar with Blog Talk Radio, he does his show at 4 o'clock Ontario, Canada time. Now, yours truly is going to be a guest on this Wednesday afternoon beginning at 4 o'clock Ontario time. So if your pens are handy, you just have to click in Google Renegade Broadcasting, R-E-N-E-G-R-A-D-E, Renegade Broadcasting. And up will come the page, of course, and you'll see Paul at the top. Now, there's, as all Google, there's various entries. Go down to the second paragraph describing Renegade Broadcasting. The second paragraph, because it has up the newer web page. And with the newer web page, you'll find Paul's photo at the top where they list the schedule, the weekly schedule, Monday through to Sunday, with the different people that are the hosts. So Paul is the host Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Ontario Eastern Time here in Canada, which I believe is probably 9 o'clock in Birmingham time. Now, this is going to be a hard interview for me to do. I will be calling my discussion at that time on Wednesday, the giving you the straight goods on my controversial youth. The straight goods. there's a lot of young nationalists in America and Britain would like to think that the youthful idiot Beattie was, yes me, was going to be that way all my life. Now those who want a background as to what I'll be talking about on Wednesday during the interview, if you'd like a preview, click in Google, John Beattie whitewash. That's all. John Beattie, B-E-A-T-T-I-E. John Beattie whitewash. And up will come the very first YouTube that I did. You'll see me juggling with the hat for the first few minutes, like Laurel and Hardy routine. Then I discussed the whitewashing. Well, this will be a more detailed report on the whitewashing of John Beattie. Mr. Hickman has submitted some very direct questions, and I must answer directly. The reason I must answer directly is, well, for one thing, I'm going to be running for a municipal position in Minden, Ontario, Canada. The fall election's coming up. I'll be filing my nomination papers in the first week of June coming up for the position of Deputy Reeve. So the more I can practice clearing the air from mistakes of youth decades ago, the better off I am, getting it off my chest and clarifying the position. So there's going to be a lot of people disappointed and a lot of people who will be pleased. Those disappointed will wish that I was the same guy from my youth right through my life. Those pleased will see that I am confessing to the youthful mistakes that I made. And no, I am not groveling to the pro-Zionist lobby. I'll be talking about John Beattie. That's all. Not groveling to anyone. Just setting the facts straight. Well, for history purposes, if it comes to that. So that's pretty exciting to talk to two fellows. Now you notice I'll be saying one fellow, Paul Hickman, he is a nationalist, and further, he's a National Socialist. But he's a polite National Socialist, if there can be such a thing, and he is. He's polite. He doesn't rave at me. We've talked on Skype. He's a pleasant fellow. After the showing, I'll probably be on the list of the most wanted former Nazi boy. The other chap I talked to today is on the fringes of London, England, located. And he and some patriots, see the difference. The nationalists, behind a lot of people who call themselves nationalists, are, well, they're genuine in their beliefs of National Socialism. But when I say patriot, I'm talking about the Winston Churchill side of the coin. Patriotism to your blood and soil. Well, we in British Canada feel our blood and soil is the Dominion of Canada linked with the motherland. And I will be differentiating those terms for the rest of my broadcasting career. The difference between nationalist and patriot. We of the British People's League prefer the term patriot. The other fellow on the fringes of London, Sam is, with other patriots, setting up a blog talk radio show, very similar to Renegade Broadcasting. Not the same theory, but the technical aspect. The same idea as Renegade Broadcasting. It will be called The Voice of Britain. It will be the only such broadcasting coming out of the entire motherland, which is fantastic. So it's a first, and yours truly, to speak for the British People's League, has been invited by Sam to do a 1-hour show on the new Blog Talk Network, which will be coming out of Britain certainly before the end of the summer. But we're announcing it now to build up an audience in advance. Nothing wrong with that. it'll be fantastic doing a blog talk show talking to you through an American broadcast system, which I have no doubt it'll have to be, but based in the motherland in Britain. Here's Johnny Boy here, the British Canadian sitting in the middle, with across the pond the motherland, and to the south our American friends, whom I shall call patriots. Because after the broadcast on the 30th, on April the 30th, on Paul Hickman's show, I don't think I'll have too many friends in the nationalist camp. I have a few who will talk, but they don't know the real score as to my past. Wikipedia is full of crap, as many of you know. A lot of school curriculums, as dumbed down as the school system already is, they won't allow you to use Wikipedia as reference material because there's no faith in it. It's promoted by left-wing, liberal globalists. If they don't like you, don't bother trying to improve what they have to say about you. Now, I actually just received questions that Mr. Hickman will be asking me. For instance, he'll be asking, we understand you don't call yourself a National Socialist. And then a bit more to that first question. And the second question, according to Wikipedia, you founded the National Socialists in 1965. Can you explain this period? Did your views change over the years? 3, I read that George Lincoln Rockwell referred to you in an interview, and he had something to say on that. 4, the National Socialist Party being set up by the Canadian Jewish Congress, unbeknownst to me. And how did you end up getting 6 months in the slammer? I've had a pardon years and years ago, so I'm clean, okay? But yes, I'm bringing it up because the Canadian Jewish Congress admitted their guilt by closing up shop. Click in Canadian Jewish Congress, you won't find them anymore. Or you'll find excuses for changing the name. The name change was because yours truly exposed them, how they used people to get a hate law passed, how they manipulated the press, and the public press went along with them. And I was the gullible idiot, the drunken fool that they gave the free beer for. And again, click on John Beattie Whitewash to get some of the background. But Mr. Hickman, I've got to give him credit. He's really nailing me against the wall. I can't squirm or hedge on any of these questions, and I will answer them as truthfully as I know the truth to be. And 1971, the hate law was passed. Certain aspects of it, limiting whites' freedom of expression. What are your comments regarding 1971 Canadian hate law? 6, in 78, you officially disbanded the National Socialist Party. Well, I never banded the National Socialist Party because there never was one. It was a fraud. They got a young guy drunk like me ranting and raving to the news media. There never was a National Socialist Party that I had anything to do with. It was all a fraud. And in any case, I exposed the fraud first off in 1971 at a social credit convention in Hull, Quebec. I told the news media that I'm done because there was never one anyway. And that was the year 1971, not 1978. I went to the University of Toronto full-time towards a Bachelor of Arts, full-time in 1973. So I could hardly be a rep-snorting Nazi running around St. Michael's campus. I was attending the University of Toronto, 73, 74, and 75, and yet they're saying you're disbanded in 78, so says Wikipedia. What a load of crap. Can you tell us about the BPL since its formation, so we'll get rid of the rough past? Have you stood in elections? I gather you're not a political party. And then he's asking about another group in Canada. Then he's asking about Wolfgang Droge. And he goes on and on, asking me if there's any connection with me and Zundel. the great meeting with John Tyndall. I'll be very pleased to talk about meeting with John Tyndall. 2 full days, actually. John and his wife, Valerie, and their daughter took myself and my daughter from Horsham in Sussex. Took us out for the day, for a day's outing, nice treatment to a nice, beautiful inn, and socialized. The 2 girls got along good. They were the same age, and it was just a great day. And then the very next day, Mr. Tyndall, John, invited me to be a guest speaker in Ashford, Kent. So John's home was in Hove, of course, so I took the bus down to Brighton and over to Hove, and then he drove me across the Downs, just one-on-one. So we had a very frank talk, and it was a great meeting in Ashford, Kent, a gymnasium. I still have photos, and there were pictures taken, put in Spearhead magazine, etc. So we'll save the rest of that discussion for Wednesday at 4. Understand Canada is thought to be a liberal country. What's Ontario like? I mean, the ethnic makeup, immigration trends. 13, you mentioned be running for political office this year. Tell us about that, please. Okay, good luck with your campaign. How do people get involved in British People's League, and what plans do you have for the next 12 months? So anyway, he's done a lot of work and research, Mr. Hickman, and I consider it an honor to be invited on the show, but I really will be on the hot seat. No one likes talking about the mistakes of youth. I know you don't out there. The only difference between John Beattie and the mistakes you made as a youth, mine hit the headlines and yours didn't. But just imagine all those things hidden in your closet. Imagine if they were on the headlines. Why was my mistakes in the headlines? Because they wanted a hate law in Canada, which we avoid anyway. There's no problem. This boy isn't being charged under the hate law. It's peanuts. Easy to get around. You don't have to hate anybody. You just point out different aspects, different tribes. I don't hate those Sikhs at the big demonstration over the weekend. I hate the politicians for letting in multiculturalism. But I mean, over in poverty-stricken countries of the globe, areas of the globe, of course they come to Canada, the land of milk and honey, because the white man has created all the milk and honey for them. So you can imagine how I'm feeling to be invited on a controversial blog talk radio show for this Wednesday at 4 p.m. And then the Voice of Britain, the people behind the Voice of Britain talk parallel to my outlook on talking about our British patriots, our British heritage, our British future, our blood here in Canada, Australia, New Zealand. They talk the same language as our friends at Candor. Britons around the globe, unite, be proud to be a patriot. Candor.org.uk. So once we're on the Voice of Britain, we'll be plugging 2 setups in the motherland, Candor League and the Voice of Britain. So excited isn't the word for this boy. But we've got to get rolling. Somebody has to be on the airwaves, and others, because multiculturalism invasion means down the road the extinction of our race, no matter what political stripe you are as a white person. Our total genocide, squeezed off the planet by the multicults from around the globe. Not very nice, is it? Okay, folks, that's pretty well wrapped it up for today, which is April the 28th, Monday. I will be back at you tomorrow, April the 29th. We'll talk at you then, and we do appreciate your tuning in. Bye for now.